Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a great day whatever day it is for you and whatever time, whatever day it is. I don't know. I screwed that one up. I always do it at the same time, but this time I didn't. Anyways, it is a nice and sunny day here in Seattle. So I hope you guys are having a good day as well. We are talking with Cindy Hook today. She is from Sonos Capital, and she's also the co-founder of Creative Real Estate University. A lot of experience here, specifically in mobile home parks, which you guys know I love to talk about. So Cindy, I am excited to jump into this. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on this wonderful Friday.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're here. I'm here in Tacoma. I know you're in Arizona, so sun is not a rarity for you, but it's nice and sunny here. So we're excited.
Yes. Good. Yes.
All right. I told you before we get on here, we always like starting with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you got here?
Okay. Well, back in the wonderful crash of 2008, I owned some property in Boston, right? Couldn't sell it, but I could rent it. So I became a landlord. And I was like, wow, look at the little extra income coming in, right? So that is truly how I fell into real estate investing, was when I couldn't sell my properties in Boston because of the market.
So you're an accidental real estate investor, which it seems to be a common theme on this podcast. Is people, they don't set out to be real estate investors, but somehow they stumble into it, and then they're like, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool." And a couple of years later, here they are.
Yep. And then I sold those properties, and kind of got out of the real estate game for a little bit, right? And then I happened to my husband's parents passed away, and we ended up with a house, and none of the siblings wanted it, but I'm like, I'll take it, we're gonna take it, so we grabbed that a couple of years ago, and oh my God, the cash flow on that single family is insane. We still have it today, and then we have a bunch of other single families across the country. And then how I actually got into mobile home park investing was I had a 401k from my own company. Okay. I own a recruiting firm on the side as well. And so I had a 401k and it was sitting there. And as you know, it doesn't make anything in the market. And I joined a couple of real estate mentorships, and lo and behold, someone said to me, or I heard it somewhere, I can't remember where, a few years ago, "Oh, Cindy, why don't you use that 401k?" I'm like, "Well, it's tied up." "Oh, no, you can move it over to a solo K." And I'm like, "What? I can make use that money and make, double-digit returns." And, the lights sparked and, like fireworks, right? And so anyways, long story short, I moved that money over to a self-directed or solo K. I found an amazing partner. He's still my partner that I refer tons and tons of people over to him, who is an absolute guru in self-directed. And it's actually checkbook control. Self-directed and solo Ks. And I started with that money and invested with another gentleman who already had like 12 parks. And he was my first dabble into mobile home parks a few years ago. I just was a private money lender to him. Okay. So he on the side taught me about mobile home parks. So then me and a couple of my other partners, we ended up buying a mobile home park in Oklahoma. We don't have that park anymore. So I got my dabble as an operator. I will first tell you and raise my hand here and tell you I do not like the operations. I am not an operator.
Yeah. It can be rough if you have the wrong property management team in place, I feel like.
I did not like that.
Yeah.
But what I do like is I like being in a fund. Hence, now we fast forward to Sonos Capital because now I have my money in the fund, right? Now I'm an owner, but I don't have any headaches. That is the beauty of it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What type of fund did you set up?
It is, well, it's a 506c.
Okay.
Fund, yeah.
And you're using that to invest in other people's deals, or are you still buying your own?
No, actually, the Sonos Capital is, the owner is Walter Johnson. So I work with Walter, okay, and it's his fund. We're in Sonos Capital Fund 2. Sonos Capital Fund 1, he actually did with his own capital. And what he does is he goes out and finds the parks from your mom and pops, right? And he does all that, you know, the back end stuff, right? The numbers guru, the negotiations, and I help people invest their money with no headaches and no returns. I mean, no headaches, no, you know what I'm talking about. No tenant calls at night.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yes.
So earlier you had mentioned solo Ks and the self-directed. I've actually never heard of a solo K. What is that?
Really?
Yeah. Well, I got out of corporate. I had an IRA in corporate, and I liquidated it in order to get into real estate, which luckily that worked.
So okay. So if you have a business, okay, you could have so you could go get an LLC and say this is my business. Now I'm not the guru, so everyone's listening there, I can set you up. But this is I know enough to be dangerous. Okay, so if you have a real estate company, you have an LLC, right? You could use that LLC as a solo K. Okay, so if you have an old 401k,
what does the K stand for? Is it anything specific?
I don't know. It's a 401k. So
okay, fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
Thinking high level here, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, what you can do is you can move that money over into a solo K. So my solo K is actually tied to my recruiting firm because that is my own company. So if you have a real estate company, right? You run an LLC. You could technically have a solo K.
Interesting. Okay. So what specifically about mobile home parks? Let's go back to that topic. Yeah. What about mobile home parks did you like once you started getting into it?
The cash flow. The cash flow. The cash on cash is insane, especially when your maintenance is low. When you end up renting dirt, right? When you turn all those park-owned homes into tenant-owned homes and you're renting dirt. That is what I love. I mean, essentially, you know, I always tell people when they're listening to me talk, I'm like, think of a parking lot when you park your car in a parking lot, right? You're renting that little space. Well, that's what we're doing, essentially. They own the home, but we're renting the dirt. And if something goes wrong in their home, we are not responsible for it. They are. So our maintenance is low. So that ends up being put back on, you know, we get the cash flow, all of us investing in it.
Yeah. You're still responsible for the utilities, which can be a big bill eventually, especially if you got those septics. We've had a couple of septics fail. And man, the last one we had to do, because of the county it was in, they had these crazy requirements and it had to be like this. I can't remember the system, but it was a special system that cost $45,000 to put in.
Oh, yes.
And so you got to watch out for, just watch out for septics. They can definitely fail. And that can be a problem.
Yes.
But
septic systems can. So we actually don't buy parks anymore with septic systems. But I'll tell you, my first park in Oklahoma, it was a septic system. Yep. So I know the pain.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it would prevent me from buying a park if it had septic. Well, I know that because I've bought multiple parks with septic systems, but it's just something I'm always wary of. Interesting. So is there what's your guys' criteria today? What are you looking for? What kind of parks are you buying?
So we're buying parks that are cash flowing currently, right? That have at least a 50% occupancy.
Okay,
Um,
so you guys are looking to do infill.
yeah, infill and basically value add. So
Yeah.
we're going in there and doing value add and holding it for about 6 years and then selling off.
Yeah. And the value add, is it only infill or what other types of that? Are
No,
you guys looking for undervalued rents?
yep,
Like what are you guys looking
yep.
for?
Undervalued rents. We'll go in there and add, like I said, new homes and sell those. We will do.
Oh, you guys bring in brand new homes.
Yeah, we bring in
You
brand new
guys
homes.
work with like can't remember the big like Clayton Homes
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that.
Yes, exactly. That's who we exactly work with. And then we it could be dog parks, it could be barbecues, it could be gazebos, it could
Mm,
be just fixing
anything.
the electrical,
Yeah.
it could be fixing putting flowers. It's just all value add.
Yeah. So infill, I love infill parks. They are, um, I found that it can definitely be a little bit bigger of a project than you originally expect when you're doing infill parks. Give us a little bit of more details what you guys look for when you're looking to infill, specifically around the criteria you look about the metro, maybe, or just what you're looking for in the park when you're buying an infill park.
So when we want at least 50,000 people or more in population.
Okay.
Obviously, I want a rural area. We won't buy anything rural. We want to know that there's a medium income of, around 40 to 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know that there's plentiful of jobs,
Mm. Positive employment
yes,
growth. I
positive,
mean,
yeah, positive, yes, exactly. So those are the things that we look for. We don't really tend to buy small parks. It's usually 50 spaces or more.
mm.
And we try to we're either buying them on seller financing or cash.
Oh, all cash.
Yeah, it could be all cash too. Yeah.
Oh, you guys find okay. Yeah, like hard money loans kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, seller financing. We've had a lot of luck with seller financing,
Yeah.
specifically with mobile home parks and RV parks. Those owners, probably because they're more mom and pop, they tend to be a little bit. Um, they are more willing to hear the seller financing story, which is a good story. It's a benefit
Yes.
for both you as the buyer and you and them as the seller. But I found that mobile home parks, RV parks specifically, we've had a lot of success there.
Yes.
You guys find the same thing?
Oh yes, because 20s plus years ago there really weren't any there wasn't any financing for
Mm,
mobile homes. So a lot of these mom and pops kind of already have heard that, like, what do we do? There's no financing. So
mm.
maybe they, even when they bought their park or 30 years ago, they were probably, under the same kind of pressure that they had to figure it out too with all cash or whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. The last park we financed, one we bought in December of last year, and it was ridiculous getting that thing financed. When I looked at the P&L, I was like, this is a slam dunk. This is a killer deal.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to pass on this. I literally called like 40 or 50 banks, and just people said, no, no, no. It was, banks do not like parks.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because they have cash flow, it's there. So it's interesting how much they tend to stay away from those. How about RV parks? Long-term stay RV parks are a thing that it's becoming more popular. We have a few that run very well. Is that something that you guys look into, or are you only sticking with the mobile home parks?
We will look at parks that have some RV spaces,
Mm,
but our goal is just the mobile home parks. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you guys looking at other types of structures to bring in? Mobile homes are the traditional one. Now they're coming out with like 3D printed homes and box or
I know.
whatever storage unit homes and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of different styles. Have you looked into any of those?
Not, I don't think that we would be opposed to it, but we are trying to keep that mobile home park model so that
Mm,
everything's unified.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. We recently looked into the storage container homes because
Yeah.
you can turn them into duplexes essentially, and in
Yep.
specific markets, especially in Texas where you have migrant workers, it seeed for one of our parks, it seemed like it made a lot of sense, but they're still pretty expensive. I thought that they'd be cheaper, but they're not, and so I don't know. It makes more sense just to go with the traditional mobile home.
Yes. They're nice, the new ones.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
They're not your typical home. When you walk into those newer mobile homes, they feel like a home.
Yeah, they feel like a home. You're absolutely right.
All right. So what does the next 2 to 3 years look like for you guys? What are your goals? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, so we're just about to finish off this fund too, which is super exciting for us. And then our next fund is going to be Fund 3, which is already in the works. And that is it's going to be a bigger fund,
Hmm.
and we're going to have more parks in that fund. So
Cool.
that's what we're gearing up to at Sonos.
Also, only mobile home parks.
Mobile home parks. That's what
It's your bread and butter.
that's our bread and butter,
All right, I like
with
it.
what we know, right?
That is good discipline. I did not have that discipline. I started buying self storage facilities too, which I also like, but there's a benefit to only buying one asset because then you get really good at that single asset. And the whole shiny object syndrome is difficult
Yeah.
in real estate for sure.
Dan Zell, right? He just kept buying mobile home parks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He had they had the what was his company's name? Something like
A lifestyle. The only
yeah,
reason
yeah, yeah.
Lifestyle, I know why, because my recruiting company is called Lifestyle too.
Oh, there you go. Easy to remember.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have
Yes.
run down the time, so it's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
I'm ready is ready.
Ready as you can be. All right, let's start with education. I need 2 recommendations. It could be any form of education. It could be a conference you've gone to, mentorship program you've been a part of, a book you've read, a movie you've seen, whatever. But 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
Okay. Well, the Who Not How book.
Mm.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. That's what I recommend. And I got to go back to Pace Morby, sub 2.
Yeah, he has a good channel and he gives a lot of good advice. So good recommendation. All right, let's go back a few years. Go back to your younger self, the Cindy who was just realizing back in, I think you said 2008, that she could not sell her Boston house and she needed to rent it. Go back to her, look her in the eye, give her one piece of advice moving forward.
It's a good thing that you didn't sell that house, because look where you are today.
There you go. Yeah, it reminds me of that one fable. It's like a Japanese fable or something where the old wise man, people in town come to him with bad things and he's like, it could be good, it could be bad, you never know, you just have to wait. And that is so true with almost everything in life. Something that on the surface seems bad, 10 years down the road, it might not actually be bad. It might have a silver lining that you don't see yet. You just got to keep trudging forward.
Yep.
All right, that leads us to the next question. This is about the US. It is a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Phoenix.
Phoenix. All right. 4 mobile home parks.
4 mobile home parks. Yeah.
Okay. Right on. I this is my completely naive view. I've not invested in Phoenix. So nobody should take this view. Take it with a grain of salt. How about that? But I always see Phoenix and I'm like, where are your guys' water? You're going to run out of water. And so I'm always afraid of like
Everyone
looking at deals
says
there.
that. We're never going to run out of water. We got the Colorado River.
Yeah, there you go. All right, next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning that purchase agreement. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
Oh my God, sending chocolates.
Sending chocolates. Go more into that.
Yeah. Or sending personalized videos.
Oh, okay.
That's my go-to.
Yeah, I have had success with videos. Those definitely work. Chocolates, though, I've never done that. So you you find a seller. You're like, I want to be top of mind, and so you send them chocolates.
Yeah, why not?
It's genius. I like it. Yeah. All right. Next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, many times things go wrong, but we get to learn a lesson in those moments. So what was a deal that went a little sideways for you guys? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
Oh, you want to know? This is the one with the septic.
Ah, yep. Septics always bite you.
Make sure you have multiple people look at that septic system before you buy a park.
What happened to it?
Oh, it went downhill.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in septic, you've had septics, it just went downhill when about a year into it. So, but yeah, and that was very, cost us an arm and a leg.
Those septic systems, man.
Yeah,
They are, they work, but when they don't work, that's the problem.
That's the biggest problem.
And what I didn't realize before I got into real estate, I came into buying mobile home parks without any experience. I hadn't even I had bought houses. I'd flipped houses and stuff, but I never really had a house that had a septic system on it. And so I never really understood septic systems. And I didn't realize that really the leach field is it can go wrong. Like you don't think of it as having any components that could fail, but leach fields definitely fail. And when you have to replace them in a county that doesn't doesn't really work with you, it can be difficult. So good lesson learned. Septic systems, you got to be wary of them. And that leads us to the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
They can find me, you can go to www.sonoscapital.com, and you can reach out to me at Cindy, CINDY, at sonoscapital.com. And when they reach out, we have a Zoom, we'll just chit chat and want to learn a little bit about their background. They can learn a little bit about Sonos, and we'll see if we're a match and a fit. And if they want to rent dirt like me, the best asset class there is, then they can dive right in. And I also give them my knowledge on solo Ks and self-directed IRAs.
All right, perfect. I will put that link in the show notes. Yeah, in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, all you got to do is click that more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find Cindy's links. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.